Ladies and gentlemen, do you know what the greatest lie we often tell ourselves is? I am broken. Broken dreams, broken hearts, broken pasts. Many of us carry these labels as if they define who we are. But let me tell you today, you are not broken. You are a masterpiece in progress. You are not a collection of shattered pieces. You are a story of resilience waiting to be told. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most damaging beliefs a person can carry is the thought that they are broken. It is a thought that creeps in silently, often after moments of loss, rejection, failure, or trauma. When life doesn't go as we imagined, when our dreams seem to shatter before our very eyes, we start labeling ourselves as damaged, incomplete, and unworthy. But the truth is that no matter how many storms you've walked through, no matter how many times you've been knocked down, you are not broken. You are still whole, and more importantly, you are a masterpiece in progress. Think for a moment about a painting. When the artist begins, the canvas is often messy. Colors are splashed in ways that make no sense. Strokes look unbalanced. Shadows seem too dark, and it almost feels like the image is ruined. But the artist knows something the onlooker doesn't. The process is not finished. That seemingly chaotic mix of colors, those unbalanced strokes, and those dark patches will eventually contribute to something breathtaking. Life works the same way. You may look at your past, your failures, your struggles, and think, this doesn't make sense, this looks ugly, this means I'm broken, but you are simply unfinished. You are still being painted by the hands of time, shaped by your experiences, and guided by a greater purpose that you might not yet see. Too often, people mistake scars for brokenness. A scar is not a sign that you are damaged. It is proof that you healed. It is proof that you survived. If anything, it makes you more beautiful, just like cracks in pottery can be filled with gold in the Japanese art of kintsugi, creating something even more valuable than before. Your scars do not diminish you. They add to your story. They make you unique, and they remind you of your strength. So when you call yourself broken, you ignore the fact that you are still here, still standing, still breathing, still fighting. That is not brokenness. That is resilience. Being a masterpiece in progress means understanding that every single day adds a new brushstroke to your life. Some days the stroke is bright and vibrant, filled with joy, laughter, and victories. Other days the stroke is darker, representing pain, challenges, and tears. But both are necessary for the final picture to emerge. If every day were painted in sunshine, the image would lack depth. It is the contrast between light and dark that creates beauty. In the same way, your moments of hardship do not take away from your masterpiece. They give it meaning. Without them, you wouldn't appreciate the victories. Without the rain, the rainbow would have no power. Many people carry guilt, shame, or regret for what has happened in their past, as if mistakes define who they are. But mistakes are not proof of brokenness. They are lessons that guide your progress. Each wrong turn, each fall, each disappointment is a stroke on the canvas that teaches you, strengthens you, and makes you wiser. A masterpiece is not created in one perfect motion. It is created through corrections, adjustments, and patient layers. You are evolving in the same way. You may not be where you want to be yet, but that does not mean you are broken. It means you are becoming. Sometimes society adds to the weight by making us feel like if we don't fit into certain molds, we are incomplete. If we fail in relationships, if we lose jobs, if we battle illnesses, or if we don't match the image of perfection projected by others, we begin to believe we are damaged goods. But society's definition of wholeness is shallow. True wholeness is not about living without flaws. It is about embracing them as part of your journey. A diamond doesn't start as a shining jewel. It begins as a rough stone, hidden beneath the earth, pressured and tested over years before its brilliance is revealed. You too are under pressure, but that pressure is not breaking you. It is transforming you into something extraordinary. The most powerful shift you can make in your life is moving from the mindset of I am broken to I am becoming. One sees only the flaws, the other sees the process. One focuses on the pain, the other focuses on the growth. When you tell yourself you are broken, you stop moving forward because brokenness implies finality. But when you say you are a masterpiece in progress, you give yourself permission to continue, to rise again, to embrace the unfolding beauty of your story. So, the next time you are tempted to look at your life and see only the cracks, remind yourself that cracks are where the light gets in. When you feel like your past defines you, remind yourself that it is not the end of the painting. It is only the beginning of a masterpiece that is still unfolding. And when people tell you that you are less because of what you've been through, stand tall and remind yourself that you are not broken. You are a masterpiece in progress, and every single day, with every stroke, life is creating something extraordinary within you. Ladies and gentlemen, life has a way of testing us in moments when we least expect it. The storms come without warning, the losses arrive without preparation, and the disappointments knock on the door of our hearts uninvited. And when they do, we often feel like the weight of it all is too much to bear. We say to ourselves, "This is going to break me. This is going to destroy me. I can't survive this." But the truth is, challenges don't shatter you. They shape you. They mold you into the person you were always meant to become. Think about a piece of clay in the hands of a sculptor. On its own, it has no form, no definition, no beauty. But when pressure is applied, when the sculptor presses, shapes, and molds it, slowly a figure begins to emerge. At first, it looks rough, incomplete, almost unrecognizable, but with every touch, with every turn, with every press, it takes on a shape of purpose. That's what challenges do to your life. You are the clay, and life, with all its pressures and trials, is sculpting you into someone extraordinary. Without the pressure, the clay would remain formless. Without your challenges, you would never discover the depth of your strength, your character, and your resilience. We live in a world where comfort is often seen as the ultimate goal. We want everything smooth, easy, and predictable. But the truth is, nothing extraordinary is ever built in comfort. Diamonds are not formed in gentle breezes. They are created under immense heat and pressure. Steel is not made strong without fire, and human beings are not made resilient without trials. When you face challenges, you may feel the fire burning, you may feel the pressure mounting, but instead of shattering, you are being refined. You are becoming stronger, wiser, more compassionate, and more prepared for the journey ahead. Every challenge you have faced has left something behind. Maybe it left behind wisdom. Maybe it left behind strength. Maybe it left behind empathy. At the time, it may have felt like destruction, but now, looking back, you can see how it carved something new into your soul. The heartbreak that once left you in pieces taught you how to value love more deeply. The failure that once humiliated you gave you the courage to try again and the humility to learn. The rejection that once stung so deeply reminded you of your worth and pushed you toward places and people who valued you for who you are. None of these experiences shattered you. They shaped you. Often we confuse pain with breaking. We think that because something hurts, it must mean we are falling apart. But pain is not a sign of destruction. It is a sign of growth. Ask an athlete how their muscles become stronger, and they'll tell you it's through the pain of resistance, the tearing of fibers, and the recovery that follows. Ask a student how they mastered a subject, and they'll tell you about the frustration, the confusion, and the long nights of study before understanding finally came. Growth hurts, but it does not shatter. It builds. The very moments that feel like they are breaking you are often the moments that are making you. Challenges also teach you to see life from a different perspective. When everything goes smoothly, it is easy to believe you are in control, that you can handle everything on your own. But when challenges come, they remind you of your vulnerability, and in that humility, you often find your greatest strength. You learn to rely on faith, on perseverance, on hope. You discover patience you didn't know you had, courage you didn't know you carried, and a strength you never imagined could belong to you. The challenge does not destroy you, it awakens you. Some of the most inspiring people you will ever meet are not those who lived easy lives. They are the ones who were tested, pushed, knocked down, and yet chose to rise again. They carry wisdom in their eyes and strength in their voices, not because life was gentle with them, but because life was harsh. And yet, instead of shattering, they allowed those experiences to shape them into something powerful. That same possibility lies within you. So, when the storms come, don't be quick to call yourself broken. Don't see yourself as a victim of circumstances. Instead, remind yourself that this challenge is a tool. shaping you into someone stronger, someone wiser, someone braver. Remind yourself that you are like clay in the hands of a sculptor, being molded for a greater purpose. Remind yourself that the pressure is not there to destroy you, but to bring out the masterpiece that already exists within you. Ladies and gentlemen, pain is one of the greatest teachers life offers us, though it is the one we try hardest to avoid. No one wakes up in the morning hoping for heartache, loss, or disappointment. We pray for ease, we wish for comfort, and we dream of smooth journeys. Yet, if we look back on the moments that changed us, the moments that shaped our character and deepened our wisdom, they almost always came wrapped in pain. That is because pain does not arrive to destroy you, it arrives to refine you. Imagine gold in its natural state. It is dull, covered in impurities, and hidden beneath layers of rock and dirt. To become the shining metal we admire, gold must endure the fire. It must be melted, purified, and stripped of everything that does not belong to it. The fire does not lessen the gold, it reveals it. Pain works the same way in our lives. It burns away the illusions we hold, the false identities we cling to, and the masks we wear. It forces us to confront our truest selves, and in that confrontation, we find clarity, strength, and authenticity. Without the fire, the gold remains hidden. Without pain, our true selves remain buried. The truth is, pain has a way of stripping us of pride, ego, and self-deception. When life is easy, we often walk with arrogance, convinced that we are in control. But when pain enters, it humbles us. It reminds us of our humanity. It teaches us that vulnerability is not weakness, but a doorway to compassion. When you have known pain, you understand the struggles of others more deeply. You listen with more patience, you empathize with more sincerity, and you offer kindness with more authenticity. Pain refines your heart to love better, to forgive more easily, and to see others not through the lens of judgment, but through the lens of humanity. Ladies and gentlemen, pain also sharpens your vision for what truly matters. Before pain, we chase after things that appear glittering but empty: titles, possessions, approval from others. But when pain strikes, when loss comes knocking, it clears away the noise and forces you to focus on what is real. Suddenly, you value moments over materials, relationships over recognition, purpose over applause. Pain has a way of resetting your priorities, teaching you to let go of what is temporary and hold tightly to what is eternal. In that way, it doesn't take from you. It gives you a clearer path forward. For many of us, pain feels like a punishment, but it is often a preparation. When life removes something you thought you couldn't live without, when it shakes the ground beneath your feet, it is refining you for the next chapter of your journey. Think about the seed buried in the soil. In darkness, it breaks. It is pressed down by the earth, covered, unseen. That process may seem cruel, but in truth, it is necessary. Because only through that breaking, only through that pressure, does the seed release life and grow into something greater. Your pain is that soil, pressing you not to bury you, but to grow you. Pain also teaches resilience in a way nothing else can. A person who has never experienced pain may crumble at the first sign of hardship, but someone who has walked through fire learns how to rise from the ashes. Each painful moment you have endured has made you stronger, even when you didn't see it at the time. Every sleepless night, every tear, every moment you thought you couldn't make it, those were not signs of weakness. They were signs of refinement. They were chiseling away at the parts of you that no longer served you and strengthening the parts of you that would carry you forward. Even in the darkest seasons of pain, there is a hidden gift. Sometimes it is wisdom, sometimes it is courage, sometimes it is gratitude for the things you once took for granted, and sometimes it is simply the strength to rise again, which in itself is a victory. You may not see it now, but one day you will look back on the pain and realize that it was not your end, it was your beginning. It was the moment that taught you who you really are and what you are truly capable of. So the next time you find yourself walking through pain, remember this: it is not here to destroy you, it is here to refine you, to polish you, to reveal the gold that was always within you. Pain is not your enemy. It is the fire that burns away what does not belong, so that the masterpiece of who you truly are can finally shine. Ladies and gentlemen, every one of us has faced moments in life where things didn't go the way we planned. Times when dreams collapsed, relationships failed, opportunities slipped through our hands, or we simply felt like we weren't enough. In those moments, it is easy to believe that life is unfair, that we are cursed, or that our story is over. But setbacks are not endings. They are lessons, turning points, and preparations for something greater. A setback is not a sign that you are finished. It is the ground from which your comeback is born. Think of the arrow. Before it can soar forward, it must first be pulled back. The farther it is pulled, the greater the force with which it is released. Life's setbacks work the same way. Every time you feel pulled backward by challenges, failures, or disappointments, it is not because you are being held down, it is because you are being prepared to launch higher than before. The pressure you feel, the backward pull you endure, is the tension that will give your comeback its power. Without being pulled back, the arrow cannot fly. Without setbacks, your life cannot propel you toward your greatest victories. So often we mistake delay for denial. We think that because something hasn't happened yet, it will never happen. We confuse being slowed down with being stopped. But sometimes life places us in moments of delay so that we can gather the strength, wisdom, and clarity we need to handle what comes next. Setbacks are classrooms in disguise. They teach you patience, perseverance, and resilience. They teach you to appreciate what you once took for granted. They strip away arrogance and replace it with humility, and they remove fear by showing you that even in failure, you are still standing. When you experience a setback, it's natural to feel pain. It's natural to cry, to feel lost, to question yourself. But within that pain lies preparation. A failed business venture prepares you to become wiser and more strategic in your next attempt. A broken relationship teaches you self-worth and what true love should look like. A missed opportunity may redirect you toward a path that aligns more closely with your purpose. What looks like a closed door may be life's way of saying, this wasn't meant for you. Something better is waiting. Some of the most successful and inspiring people in the world faced crushing setbacks before their greatest triumphs. They were rejected, criticized, and underestimated. But instead of giving up, they turned their setbacks into fuel for their comebacks. They realized that the struggle was part of the journey, not a signal to quit. That same possibility exists in you. Every time you fall, every time you fail, you are being handed the raw material to build your comeback story. A setback also has the power to reshape your mindset. When everything comes easy, we tend to take life for granted. But when you are knocked down, you learn to value each step of progress. You develop gratitude for small victories. You no longer measure success by speed, but by endurance. That change in mindset becomes your strength because it allows you to keep moving even when the journey feels long. It reminds you that success is not about never falling, it's about always rising again. Ladies and gentlemen, setbacks also reveal the strength you never knew you had. When life pushes you to the ground, you discover the courage it takes to stand again. When doors close, you realize your ability to create new ones. When people doubt you, you discover the power of believing in yourself. Every setback is an invitation to prove to yourself that you are stronger than you think, braver than you know, and more capable than you ever imagined. The most beautiful part of a comeback is not just the victory itself, but the journey you took to get there. The struggle makes the success sweeter. The pain makes the joy deeper. The waiting makes the breakthrough more meaningful. A life without setbacks would be a life without appreciation. A life without comebacks would be a life without triumph. So when you face setbacks, and you will, do not see them as the end of your story. See them as the preparation for a new chapter. Understand that being pulled back is only part of the process before you are launched forward. Believe that every disappointment, every delay, and every fall is not there to bury you but to build you. Trust that your setback is simply setting the stage for your greatest comeback. Ladies and gentlemen, every scar tells a story. Some scars are visible on the skin, reminders of wounds that healed long ago. Others are invisible, etched deep within the heart and mind, carried silently through memories of pain, loss, and hardship. Too often, people see their scars and feel ashamed. They cover them up, hide them, or wish them away. They believe scars make them weaker, less worthy, or broken. But the truth is the complete opposite. Scars are not marks of weakness. They are proof of survival. They are the evidence that you were hurt, but you did not remain wounded. You fell, but you stood again. You bled, but you healed. When you see a scar, you are not looking at the wound itself. You are looking at the healing. The cut may have once been painful, but the scar is the sign that it closed, that the body did its work, that life continued. In the same way, the emotional scars you carry are not signs that you are damaged beyond repair. They are reminders that you endured something that could have destroyed you, but you are still here. You may have been tested, but you passed through the fire and came out stronger on the other side. Scars add depth to your story. Imagine a novel where nothing ever goes wrong, where the characters never struggle, never face conflict, never overcome adversity. It would be a dull story, empty of meaning. But when a character fights battles, faces storms, and carries scars, the story becomes inspiring and worth telling. Your life is the same. The scars you carry do not diminish your story. They make it richer. They turn your life into a testimony, a source of strength for you and for others who will one day need the courage to fight their own battles. There is a Japanese art form called kintsugi, where broken pottery is repaired with veins of gold. Instead of hiding the cracks, the artist highlights them, turning the brokenness into something more beautiful and valuable than before. In the same way, your scars are not something to hide. They are something to embrace. They are the golden lines in your life's pottery, proof that you were once broken open but made whole again in a way that shines even brighter. Sometimes people will judge you for your scars. They will point to your past, to your mistakes, to your failures, and try to reduce you to those moments. But your scars are not a sign of weakness. They are a sign of courage. They say you had the strength to face what others could not. They say you had the resilience to get back up when others would have stayed down. They say you had the bravery to keep going when the world gave you every reason to quit. Scars also carry the power to heal others. When you share your story, when you show the scars you carry, you give someone else permission to embrace their own. You remind them that healing is possible, that pain does not last forever, and that life continues after loss. Your scars become bridges that connect your story to the stories of others, turning pain into empathy and suffering into compassion. What once hurt you becomes the very thing that allows you to inspire and comfort someone else. Ladies and gentlemen, it is easy to look at a scar and see only the reminder of what hurt you. But if you shift your perspective, you will see that it is not a reminder of pain. It is a reminder of endurance. It is not a mark of weakness. It is a medal of honor. Soldiers wear medals to show the battles they fought. Survivors wear scars to show the battles they overcame. You do not need to be ashamed of them. They are the visible or invisible medals of your courage, your resilience, and your faith. Every scar is proof that you did not surrender. Every scar is proof that you survived the nights that seemed endless, the heartbreaks that seemed unbearable, and the struggles that seemed insurmountable. Every scar tells you that you are stronger than you once believed. They are not the end of your story. They are the beginning of your victory. So the next time you look at your scars, whether they are on your skin or in your heart, don't see them as flaws. See them as reminders that you are a survivor. See them as symbols that you are still here, still standing, still fighting. Scars are not weakness. Scars are strength. Scars are survival written into the fabric of your being. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest battles human beings fight is not with the world outside, but with the voice inside that whispers, "You are not enough." That voice grows louder when we fail, when we are rejected, when we compare ourselves to others, or when life doesn't unfold the way we imagined. Slowly, we begin to believe the lie that we are incomplete, fragile, and lacking. But the truth, which I want you to carry deep in your heart, is that you are whole, unshakable, and enough just as you are. You do not need to prove your worth to the world. You do not need to earn your value through perfection. You are valuable because you exist, because within you is a soul that carries strength, resilience, and endless potential. So many of us live with the illusion that we will finally be enough when we achieve something, when we get the job, when we find the partner, when we earn the money, when we fix every flaw. But have you noticed how that finish line keeps moving? The moment you reach one goal, another appears, and the feeling of being enough slips just out of reach again. That is because worthiness is not found in achievements. It is found within. You were born enough, and nothing you do or fail to do can take that truth away. The world may try to convince you otherwise, but your value does not decrease when someone fails to see it. Being whole does not mean being perfect. Being whole means embracing every part of yourself. The strengths and the weaknesses, the victories and the mistakes, the light and the shadow. You are not defined only by the polished parts of your story. You are also defined by the lessons you learned in the mess. To be whole is to stop hiding the broken pieces and instead recognize that they are part of the masterpiece. Imagine a mosaic. Its beauty does not come from smooth, flawless tiles, but from broken pieces arranged into something breathtaking. Your life is that mosaic. Every mistake, every setback, every scar is a piece of the picture, and together they create something extraordinary. Unshakable does not mean you will never feel fear, sadness, or doubt. It means that no matter how hard life pushes you, you will not be destroyed. You may bend, but you will not break. You may stumble, but you will not fall forever. To be unshakable is to carry within you the knowledge that storms are temporary, but your spirit is eternal. Think of a tree in the middle of a storm. Its branches sway, its leaves may be torn, but its roots are deep, and it remains standing when the winds calm. You too have roots. Roots of resilience, roots of faith, roots of strength, and they keep you unshakable no matter what storms you face. And then there is the truth that you are enough. Not enough if, not enough when, simply enough. The world may measure you by your appearance, your wealth, your achievements, or your status, but those are fragile measures that change with time. True worth is not in what you have, but in who you are. You are enough because you are unique, because no one else in the world carries your exact story, your exact heart, your exact perspective. You are enough because even in your flaws, you hold beauty. You are enough because your existence itself is proof that you are meant to be here. Too often we think that if we show our weaknesses, people will see us as less. But showing your humanity does not make you less. It makes you real. It connects you to others because deep down, everyone is fighting the same battle of worth. When you embrace your wholeness, when you stand unshakable, when you believe you are enough, you give others permission to believe the same about themselves. You become a light in a world that is often dark with comparison and insecurity. Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest freedom you can ever give yourself is to stop chasing the approval of others and to start embracing the truth of who you already are. You are whole, not missing. You are unshakable, not fragile. You are enough, not lacking. And when you live with that truth, you stop waiting for the world to validate you because you carry validation within. You walk with confidence, not arrogance. You stand with strength, not fear. You love yourself not because you are flawless, but because you are worthy. And that is the most unshakable truth of all. When you look into the mirror, stop searching for cracks and flaws. Instead, see the warrior who stood through storms, the soul that refused to give up, the heart that still beats with hope. Because every scar you carry is not proof of brokenness. It's proof that you endured, you overcame, and you rose again. So, never call yourself broken. Call yourself unshakable. Call yourself whole. Call yourself enough. Ladies and gentlemen, as you walk out of this place today, remember, life didn't break you. It built you. You are not broken. You are becoming.